Good afternoon, family. How we doing today? I know I'm on a little bit early, but I just wanted to make sure that I was able to get on without any problems. And we have a lot to go over today, so I'm really excited. And we are preparing for the GAC 5K, and I'm really excited about that. And for those of you who are new to this page, to this channel, good afternoon. My name is Doreen. I am known as Coach Doreen. I am a whole food, plant based nutrition and fitness coach. And I am here as one of the leaders for the GAC Health and Fitness Ministry of the Greater Allen Cathedral of New York. And we are doing some really great things, and I am truly excited. So, as I'm waiting for people to come on, I just want you to know that we are taking this whole thing seriously, so serious about preparing for this 5K. And I've been doing my personal research about the whole thing, and I am truly excited about what's going on. So, my question is, are you ready? Are you ready for this 5K? Are you ready to do something brand new for a change? Are you ready to go in and prove that you can do something beyond what you're normally doing? Because again, this is really exciting. And what's so funny about it, and I'll probably say it again as other people like come on, is that I never thought that I would be one to run. I never liked running. And if anyone asks me, come on, Doreen, let's run, let's jog, I was like, no, I'll walk. Or I'll tell them straight up, I'm a dancer. So dancers only run when we have to. So I've never saw myself as a runner. And I was like, thought about it. And I was like saying to myself, why do you not want to run? And I remember, it's so funny how childhood stuff can really like throw you off, right? I remember as a kid, it had to be like elementary school, right? And we were doing like relay races in the schoolyard. And of course, I always ended up being the one that was last chosen, but nonetheless, I was chosen on a team and it was exciting. So we got on the team and we were running, and I thought I was doing well. I really did. I thought I was doing good. And then somebody's came to me and said, "You run crooked." And I was like, "I run crooked." Right. So it was basically from that moment forward that I kind of said, okay, well, then I guess I'm not a runner because I was told that I run crooked. So I was like, isn't that funny though? Isn't it funny how we just take things from, what we've been told as a child, right? And then we just take that as the end all be all. And then we just like, okay, that's what it is. That means I guess I can't run. So I've always told myself that I could not run from that point forward. Also, when I went to high school, right? I went to Beach Channel High School way back in the 80s, right? And they made us run that track. So anyone who knows about Beach Channel High School, they are right off the Jamaica Bay. And it is cold over there, especially during the winter time. And they used to make us run that track in the winter. And I think that's another thing that just made me say, you know what? I don't like running and I'm not a runner. So if we have to run, first of all, if I'm being told that I'm running crooked, right? So that means I can't run in a straight line, right? And then the second thing is that we have to run it in these obscene weather of cold in shorts. I mean, I thought that was just ridiculous. So like, we couldn't run inside. Why can't we run inside? But anyway, those are kind of the things that made me say, okay, I just can't run, or I convinced myself that I don't like to run. But since we've been planning and training or preparing for this 5K, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is not so bad, and I'm kind of excited. So now that I am here trying to help other active seniors being able to prepare for this 5K, I'm really, really excited. So that's my background story. I would love to know what your background story is. Are you a runner, a jogger, or you just you just prefer to walk? Have you been on track? Have you ever done like a 5K or a marathon before? How about walkathons? I know I've done a lot of March of Dime walkathons. I've done walk for a cause, even for our, the Great Isle Cathedral. We walked for breast cancer. So a lot of times it's like I'm not jogging, but I'm walking for a cause. I walked for our missionary society for when we were raising money for the students in South Africa. So that was also really interesting. So what have you done? My question is, have you done a 5K or marathon before, walkathons, and like how many? Did you like them? Were they inspiring? What did you get out of it? But nonetheless, like whatever type of race or walk, you've done, it all takes preparation. So it's preparation. Everyone doesn't like that word. It's the process of it, right? But in other words, it takes training. And so that's basically what we've been doing for these last couple of weeks. And I decided that I wanted to take this opportunity to help my GAC Health and Fitness family and anyone else who may be jumping on to be saying, well, you know what? I think that I may want to participate in a 5K one day. And but I've never ran before. I've never jogged before. I don't even think that I've walked that far before, right? And so this is a properly, good opportunity for them to kind of listen in and say, okay, so what are you guys doing? How are you guys getting started? Right. So but that is exactly what I want you guys to realize right now. For those of us who are joining us for this GAC 5K preparation, that you are in training. You are in training, and I am in training, right? And so when we think about training, what do we think about? It's like we have to do a schedule, we have to eat right. What are we doing, right? But when we think of training, I know when I think of training, the first thing I think of is like athletes. I think of basketball players. I think of gymnasts. I think of those who are actually running, right? Those who are doing like the big things like football, golfing, tennis. They are all training because they are all considered athletes, right? So, what I want you guys to understand is that you yourself are an athlete in your own right. We are all athletes. We are athletes in life. All right. So, I want you to think about that for yourself, that you are an athlete, right? I'm an athlete and you are an athlete. And as with any athlete that is preparing for the big day, there are certain things that they can and cannot do if they're planning to win or at least finish the race, right? So we see 5Ks and 10Ks and so forth here in New York, and everyone comes from everywhere to run in New York, run in Manhattan. Now we all know that they didn't, hopefully, they didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to run a 10K. It's like, no, hopefully they have been preparing for weeks and sometimes even a year in advance for this big day, right? So we are doing the same thing. We are preparing for the big day. We are preparing to finish strong. We are preparing to be better than when we started. So the one of the things that, as I was preparing for our senior GAC Health and Fitness Ministry, especially for my active seniors, right? I wanted us to understand that there are different levels that we can come at this with. But the levels that I chose, and I sent emails out to them, that we're coming from the level or the model from couch to 5K, right? So we're coming from the couch to 5K approach, right? And that approach is like, I feel is the best because we are starting from the lowest level, right? And the lowest level, meaning the level of sitting, right, to the highest level, which could be jogging or running. Now, I understand that some people are like, okay, I'm coming off the couch, I haven't done this before. I'm not sure if I can do this, but even the first level of even trying to get up and about, getting up off the couch and saying, I'm going to do that, you have started. And I applaud you for saying, okay, I'm getting up off the couch to even start like a walking program. So again, we are starting from the couch to the 5K approach. And I've looked that up. Right. And I really feel that that is the best way because, again, it's coming from the lowest level of sitting to the highest level, which could be jogging or running. Now, if we don't get to the running, right, like I said, but make it to either like a fast paced walking to jogging, I will be super satisfied and I hope that you will be too. Right. So again, it's not like people said, oh gosh, I can't do a 5K. First of all, let me redefine 5K. A 5K is basically like 3 miles and it's approximately 10,000 steps. Now, if you're doing 10,000 steps every day, you need to know that you're doing a 5K every day. So let's first of all take the fear off of the stigma of a 5K. They're like, oh my gosh, 5K. 5K is 3 miles. 3 miles, about 10,000 steps. So if you want, let's take the fear off of the name of the 5K. So again, if you start from getting off the couch to starting a walking program, fantastic. If you get up there and you start walking and then you start increasing the pace of your walking, fantastic. If you are now going really fast, but now you can like jog, fantastic. If we're going to from jogging to running, fantastic. But whatever you decide to do, right? I want you to get the best out of this experience. And that is why I'm here, right? I'm here as your coach, as your cheerleader to say that either way, right? I want you to get the best out of this experience. So, what I want to do tonight for this particular YouTube Live is to take a look at what it's going to take to be successful from the point of the training schedule that I sent, right? And how that impacts both our muscular power and our metabolic power. All right, so that's what our theme is for tonight, that we're going to look at what it's going to take, all right, to be successful from the training schedule that was sent. So let's define muscular power. Muscular power, that is the most direct connection. So, of course, when we think of muscular power, of course, we think of muscles. Muscle power refers to the ability to exert force quickly, combining strength and speed. So, you think of activities like sprinting, jumping, or lifting weights explosively. So, we want muscular power. All right. The second thing that we're going to be talking about is metabolic power. Let's define that. And that represents the body's ability to generate and sustain energy for physical activity and is influenced by factors like nutrition, hydration, and cardiorespiratory fitness, right? So I sent out like a template of what we can look at, and we're going to kind of examine that and go over that. If you're interested in knowing what that is, I could definitely send you the link in the chat. If you are connected to me and outside of YouTube, you have my email address, or you can DM me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to send you that information. But what we did the first day um, at GAC Health and Fitness is that we started the walking, right? I set a timer and we started walking. So basically, what we were doing was assessing our fitness level, right? And that's the first thing you need to do with anything that we go into. You're not going to just jump in, right, and start running, all right? That is not a smart thing to do. And next, your body is not going to be very happy with you at the end of the day and even the next day. So what we need to do is check your fitness level to tailor the training program, right? So also, if you have any like health concerns, you need to make sure that you're contacting or consulting your healthcare provider before starting, right? So that is my guidelines. It's like check to see like if you have like knee issues, back issues, hip issues, any of those things, any concerns like asthma, heart conditions, all of those things, you need to make sure that you are training in a way that's not going to exacerbate or make those things worse. So I always tell my people, no skippy shoes. right? And they like skippies. It's like, make sure you're using shoes or sneakers that will give you the proper support in your feet, your ankles, and your arches. So a lot of times we wear these flat, comfortable sneakers. They don't have any support and they're going to really hurt your feet later on. Right. If you have issues like with your knees, just make sure that you are supported in your knees, right? Make sure you have some type of brace on. The other thing is if you have back issues, also make sure that you are, maybe wearing a brace of some sort. You may have to limit what you're doing. So again, we are not jumping in, which again, we're at the end or near the end, we're going to go over our training schedule. But again, this is basically assessing your fitness level. Where are you at the beginning of your training? All right. If you have walked before, how long have you walked? How did you feel when you walked? Where did you walk? Right? Did you, walk and then jog? Did you go in an incline, downward? Was it a flat level? All of these things need to be taken into consideration as you're going forward, right? Because you want to know, again, where are you starting? Where are you starting? Right? The next thing is that we need to make realistic goals. Again, you're not going to jump into this program, or hopefully you're not going to do that, or even the day before, a week before the 5K and say, okay, I am going to go ahead and do this, and you have not done anything. All right. So we're not going to do that. Okay. Please don't do that. So the second thing you need to do is we need to set realistic goals. You need to make a decision of what it is you're going to do, right? Of course, we're going to finish. That is the goal. We are going to finish this 5K with no problems. But you have to decide, okay, are you going to walk the whole thing, right? Are you going to jog the whole thing? Or are you planning to run the whole thing? Or are you going to walk a little and then jog a little, right? Are you going to walk, jog, and then run and start back at the beginning? What are you going to do? Make a decision of what the end goal is. How do you want to accomplish finishing the 5K? Are you going to walk it? Right? Are you going to speed walk it? Are you going to walk to jog? Are you going to walk, jog, run? Are you going to run the whole thing? So whatever it is that you're going to do, that is the type of training that you need to work toward to do. So again, fitness level, where are you now? Right? Set your goal. What do you plan to do? How do you plan to do it? The next thing, right, is that we need to develop a training plan. And I have emailed that out. We have a training plan that I looked up specifically for active seniors and specifically for those who have never ran before. All right. So with every training program, that even what we're doing in class, both at SNAP and at GAC Health and Fitness, at the GAC Health and Fitness, we are doing a warm up, right? And we are doing stretching, right? So we have these wonderful rollers that we hold in our hand, and they're almost like, the foam rollers we have in the hand, and we are rolling out our calves, our thighs, our hamstrings, our glutes before and sometimes after, or maybe after and before, or both. Right. So basically it's helping to warm up the muscles, get everything loose and ready to go. And then we do some dynamic stretching, warm up movements, right? And then we are prepared to walk, right? Then we're doing our walking intervals. So what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks is I have a Tabata timer, right? The first week we did 30 seconds of walking and 30 seconds of jogging. And we did that for like 5 to 10 minutes, right? That is how we started the program. That's how we started the training. This past week, right, I increased it to 45 seconds. So that means we did 45 seconds of walking and 45 seconds of jogging. Now, again, not everybody's at that level where they are doing all of this jogging, right? So what I had them do is that they're going to walk at their normal pace, but then when the bell goes off for the next 45 seconds, they're going to speed it up. So again, it goes back to our assessments, right? When we talked about in the beginning about what is your current fitness level? How fast are you able to walk, right? And as we start the training, how fast will you be able to walk in the future? Then I have The plan that we have is like 3 days a week, beginning with short sessions. Some of them have it doing something every day. We'll go over that at the end. And then some has it like every other day. But whatever it is, there are short sessions. So we're not running the whole 5K the whole time. We are building up to being able to walk faster, walk longer, or jog faster or jog longer, and ultimately to be able to run it. So again, we are building ourselves up and not just jumping in, because again, it's a training program. And then of course, you must always have rest days, right? So that's the days that you are allowed to recover and stretch and just do other things. All right. So with the walking and jogging intervals with the training plan, right? Like I said, it's a great way to build your endurance, right? And to gradually ease into what it is that you're trying to do, whether it's faster paced running, whether it's jogging and or running, all right? And there's a progression, right? And so I just want to go over it one more time, week by week. So the week 1 through 2 is what we did, right? Which starts with like a 1 minute of jogging, followed by 3 to 4 minutes of walking, and we repeat the cycle. So again, I use the Tabata timer. You can download that, right? On your, if you have like Google Play or something like that, it's a free app and it's called Tabata Timer. I'll put that in the chat. Tabata Timer. Right? And what you can do is you can download that and you can set your own intervals, right? So you have, it'll go off and it'll ring a bell, right? 30 seconds. Okay. And that way, when your 30 seconds are over, and you can set how many times you want to do that, between 5 times, 10. We're up to like, I think 7 times. And the 7 times when I did it, when I added up, it came to like maybe 12 to 15 minutes, something like that, right? And then you can repeat that as many times as you want, right? So week 3 to 4, which is what we're getting ready to go into, right? We're increasing to 2. We're going to be increasing to 1 minute. So I'm a little bit behind. Again, I'm adjusting it to the people who are in the room, but you can adjust it to what is needed for you. So again, I did 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Then the second week, I increased the 45 seconds on and 45 seconds off. As we come back into the next week, we're now going to increase to 1 minute. So I may kind of break it up. I may say 45 seconds of fast walking or maybe jogging, right? It depends on who's in the room, because again, I gear it by who's there. I may do 45 seconds on and then 1 minute. All right. So I may do it that way. And then the next week, I'll swap it and do 1 minute and then 45 seconds. And so as we go into like week 5 and 6, right now, 5 and 6, we may do 1 and 1. So 1 minute walking, 1 minute jogging, or if people are at that level, they can do jogging for 1 minute and then sprint for the other. So again, it depends on who's in the room, right? So from what I've seen and counted out on the calendar, we do have about 6 weeks. So I think that we are on point, right? So again, like I said, I adjust the intervals, based on comfort and who's in the room, right? And as I look at people who are in there, it's like, okay, let's see who can do what. And just throw it out there. It's okay. If you can feel that you can do this, go ahead and do it. And I'm just watching everyone. All right. So again, we're keeping the pace steady. We're gradually increasing as we're going, right? We're using a timer to make sure that we're on point. And then we are adjusting to see how we feel, how our bodies feel. Are we like out of breath? I can't breathe. So maybe we need to take it back a little bit. The other thing that we're doing, right, is strength and balance exercises. Now, this is important. Now, you're like, okay, we're walking, we're running. What does that have to do with anything? But again, we're talking about muscular endurance, right? We're talking about muscular power. And when we're doing that, we have to make sure that the muscles are able to do what it is that we're asking for. So in the exercises that we're doing for our classes, and even on the even on the sheet for training that I sent out, out, it has exercises like squats and lunges, balance, stability. All of this is to help us to reduce the risk of injury. All right. We don't want to just jump out there again and our bodies not be prepared. We need to be prepared for this. We are in training. Even those who are running the Olympics, they are doing specific exercise. Those who are jumping hurdles, they are doing the stretching exercises for their legs and their hips so their legs can get over the hurdles. They are doing flexibility, mobility, and agility exercises to keep their bodies being able to run faster, right? To lift their knees higher. All of that doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes the muscles in the brain and the muscle and the brain in the head, the neurons and everything need to connect so that they are operating together. Now, this plan also that I have out there, which we're going to go over in a little bit more detail because there's 2 of them that I sent out there. It has recovery days, right? And this especially, this is, even though this is catered to what they call active seniors, this is basically for anybody, right? We want to make sure that we do not cause any extra injuries out there because we're doing something new or maybe haven't done anything like this in a long time. So those who work with me, they know that I am a stickler on what? Alignment. We have to make sure that our muscles and our joints and everything are going in the same direction so that they are in the proper direction, so that we are not turning our knees and our hips and our ankles in a way or landing wrong that is going to cause injury. So when we are doing these lunges, these squats, these balance skills, stability, agility, is really making sure that we are training ourselves to make sure that we are making sure our bodies and our joints are going in the direction that is needed, right? So that we don't land wrong and cause injury, right? So that is a big stickler. So strength and balance exercises specifically for this are important, especially, I have to say, for everybody, but specifically for active seniors, because we're not doing what we're doing for as long as we've been doing it before, we have a tendency to be off balance, right? We lose it. So it is true. It's very true that if you don't use it, you are definitely going to lose it. And because we are not in our 20s and our teens anymore, there's a lot of things that we've allowed to shift the wrong way. And so therefore we are not landing the right way. And we don't want that to happen. We really want to make sure that we are not causing any injuries. Also, when you're doing this kind of stuff, like when you're doing your lunges, your balance drills, your stability, and you're doing your walking and stretching and all that, it's going to build more confidence in you. All right. You're going to feel confident about the movement that you're doing. You're not going to have any fear about walking, jogging, or whatever, jumping, lunging, because you are preparing your body, right? You are putting yourself in a position where you are like, okay, I know how to do this. That builds so much confidence, right? So another part of the training program, right, for the one that I said from couch to 5K for those who are not runners, they have something that they call cross training. And someone's like, well, Doreen, what is cross training? Because you hear cross training and you think about all of this other, things that go along with cross training. And this is it's the same term, but it's not the same term, right? So cross training, here, let me redefine it for you for those who really don't know. Cross training refers to engaging in different types of physical activities that complement the main exercise. So like in this case, preparing for the 5K, right? It helps to build overall fitness, right? So again, like we said, the lunging, the squatting, the balancing, that is all going to work for the one goal of being able to run and walk and jog with confidence and without injury, right? So all of those muscles that we just mentioned, all of that, believe it or not, is engaged with you walking, right? If you ever watch one of those anatomy videos. They tell you to watch the body, how it's walking. It's very interesting. You get to see how all of your body, especially upright, your back, your abs, your glutes, your quads, your ankles, all of your hips going, we kind of walk this way side to side, how it shifts from side to side. All of those muscles are engaged when you're walking. So when you're training your quads, your hamstrings, your ankles, your calves, and your core, those are the main muscles that you are using every single day as you're walking. But on for also cross training to like for a recovery kind of thing, you can also do swimming, right? Because it's gentle on the joints. It's going to give you great cardiovascular health, right? So if you are doing like a pool exercise or water aqua aerobics, that is great for your cardiovascular. Again, it gives you an opportunity to take the weight off of your joints, right? So that'll be a good opportunity, like on your rest days or what they call cross training days on your training. You can do that. Another one is cycling, right? You can get on your stationary bike, right? And you can do low impact exercises to build endurance and strengthen your leg muscles. Now, when you think of cycling, people's like, and also like with swimming, it's not a force production exercise, which meaning there's no pounding on the joints or on the bone. So it's not going to give you the same impact as if you were running for that day. So it's a great alternative to your jogging and your walking days, because again, it's still giving you cardiovascular exercise and it's still strengthening your leg, your muscles, and is also taking impact off your joints, right? Another thing that you can do on your cross training rest days is yoga and Pilates. This is perfect, like for those of us who are tight, right? Tight in our muscles, like our quads, our hamstrings, especially those glutes, your back, your shoulders. That is a great opportunity for you to improve your flexibility, improve your balance, and your core strength. So again, and also we could go back into like strength training classes, like your light weightlifting, your resistance bands, all of that is also going to help, take away from the actual training of your jogging and running all the time, right? But actually use your body in a different way. Now, yesterday, we were supposed to have class in the building, but because so many things was going on, I said, hey, why not? We did a Zoom class. Right, I let them experience what a certain training that I do, and it's called Muscle Burns Fat by Body, or also known as Beachbody. And I had them experience my trainer, which is one of my favorite trainers there, was Megan Davies, right? And I saw them today, and I said, "So how do you feel?" They were like sore. And I was like, oh, okay. They said that was definitely a challenging. So that was, cardio, and it was also weightlifting. That was a lot of fun, right? Another thing you can do for cross training to like take away from your running and walking days is have dance classes. Line dancing is fun. You can do like they have the Fit with Rick on YouTube, or any other dance classes that you can go to. That is also another fun way as your cross training day or your off day from your regular training from walking and running, right? It's a lot of fun, right? You don't even have to just put on whatever music you like to listen to and just start dancing in your own home. All right. Now, also a last thing that we could do, all right, as off of your training days, is that you can do your elliptical trainer. Now, this is best for those who have gyms, right? And it's a little bit different than the bike because you're not sitting, you're standing. And this is great for those who have issues with their knees because it's a little bit easier. So it's a mixture of a bike and you're walking. So it's also going to help to lubricate those joints. It's easy. It's a low impact exercise. So let's go over it again. For your cross training, remember, is different physical activities outside of the day that you are doing your training. Either you're walking, you're jogging, or you're running. It could be swimming, it could be cycling, it could be yoga and Pilates, It can be some form of strength training. It can be dance classes or an elliptical trainer. All right. So I'm going to take a breath because that was a lot of talking. All right. So if you have any questions about anything that I have just went over, feel free to put it in the chat. All right. And this is also going to be up. So if you need to go back to it to take some notes, it is definitely there. All right. Now, as we get closer to the 5K, right, we're going to practice the route. Now, I know that the route that they are planning for the GAC 5K is that they're planning to walk from Royal Wilkins to York College and back. Now, I know that my active seniors are having some concerns because they don't want to walk on the sidewalk, right? And I get it. I totally understand it. So what I'm planning is for us to stay in Royal Wilkins Park if at all possible. And if not Royal Wilkins Park, then we'll probably go to what is also known as St. Albans Park, because I don't know what the process is. I'm going to find out to get some better information. But the reason why we would do that is basically because we need to practice the route, right? So even those who do like the 5K, like in the city and so forth, they go and they practice jogging, even if it's not in the street, they're in the vicinity, right? Even those I know who do like the bike races, they are racing, they are riding that, practicing the route before they get there. And that's also to help them visualize where they're going. It's also to help it to motivate them where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing. Right. So when we do this is actually to train you on that route, right? To build familiarity of the area and to also to build your confidence. Right. So let's talk about safety. Let's talk about safety. Hey, Miss Catherine, not a problem. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So what I want us to do now is to emphasize safety. And I spoke about it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. And I'm definitely going to send like a video, maybe I'll link it here, about making sure that you are wearing the right supportive shoes, right? Again, it is so important that you have the right support on your feet, mainly because of the ankle, right? Again, if you're not used to walking and running, right, or jogging or what have you, the pounding that you can put on the feet and it shoots up the ankle into the hips and so forth can be very uncomfortable. Right. So you want to make sure that you are wearing the proper supportive shoes for the activity that you're going to be doing. So if you're definitely planning to be walking, right, you want to make sure that you have the right shoes to be walking in. All right. I hate, Lord knows, I hate those little skippy shoes because I look at them and they are awful for the arches and the ankles. They are great for every once in a while, but they are not proper for walking, running, and jogging. Now, if you are like me or some other, other athletes, they are cross trainers, which means they both run, they walk, they lift. You need a cross trainer shoe, right? That has the support that can do all of those things. Now, if you are a runner, right, and you're planning to jog and run, you also need to make sure that you have the proper shoe for running, especially if you are outside, right? You need something that's going to support your arch, your ankle, all right, and your foot overall. All right. So that is so important. So if you're not sure what kind of shoe to get, right? I don't know about the experts. Some of these people in these shoe stores are not experts anymore. They're just there to show you the shoe or to sell you the sneaker. All right, but it's important. So again, I will make sure to get everyone that or link up that YouTube video that is very important that shows you how to test the shoe, look for the shoe, putting it on, right? The other thing is that as you are in training as the athlete that you are, right? I need you to really listen to your body. All right. Again, this is emphasizing safety. Again, we're going from couch to 5K, right? Listen to your body and address any pain or discomfort immediately. Now, there's a good pain and there's a bad pain. Now, you worked out and you feel sore the next day. That may not be such a good pain, but it's a good pain because that means you actually did something. But if it's to the point where, okay, I can't do something, or it's a sharp pain, all right, or it's a pain that does not go away after a few days of rest, you need to address it immediately. Do not, please, do not ignore that. Now, if it's a pain that comes and then it doesn't go away from a week to 2 weeks, you need to go see a professional. You need to go check it out to make sure it's not a tear, it's not a sprain. You got to check it out. All right, especially if it's something that you have not dealt with before. Please, I'm emphasizing this safety because, again, if you have not done this before, right, it's important. All right, don't ignore it. And then you're going to be telling me the day of, I can't because my doctor said A, B, C, and D. All right. So again, I spoke about this earlier on when we started. If you have issues with your ankles, you have to make sure that your shoes are proper. You have the proper shoes. If you have issues with your knees, right, you need to make sure that even while you're just working out you doesn't have to wear it the whole day, but while you're working out, while you're training, you need to have something that is supporting your knees. If you have something with your back, you need to make sure that you are braced. All right. So again, you have to listen to your body. You know your body better than anybody. Right. And even though, you may be in the class with me and I may call out certain things, I check your feet, make sure your knees are over your toes, pull in your abs. You have to do that. Right. You're going to have to check it out. You're going to have to make sure that you're doing it. And even as you are training outside of the class where we are, you have to keep that also going on in your head. Are my feet going forward? Are my knees over my toes? Am I aligned? Am I pulling in my abs? You have to repeat that to yourselves because you can't just operate like you don't know what's happening, right? You have to be self-aware of what is going on. Amen. Amen. All right. Next, we need to talk about hydration and nutrition. All right. You need to make sure that you are doing proper hydration and making sure that you have a balanced diet to maintain your energy levels. Now, I had just told this to someone today that since I've been training, because believe me, I'm training with you guys because like I said earlier, I never thought I would be jogging or running anywhere, but it's not fair. Honestly, it's just not fair that I'm going to tell you guys to do it and then I'm not doing it. So I am also following the same schedule that I'm giving to you. All right. And I've realized like for the last couple of days, because I eat what I eat, I wake up and like later on in the day, I said, I am starving. Why am I so hungry? It's because I am burning more energy because of the training, right? So we have to make sure that our nutrition is matching up with what it is that we're doing. And that is called metabolic power, right? So let's define metabolic power. Metabolic power represents the body's ability to generate and sustain energy for physical activity, influenced by factors like nutrition, hydration, and cardiorespiratory fitness, right? So basically, we need to eat like the athletes that we are. And that means, as my coach Lisa would say, you got to eat like you got some sense. If you are training for this and you are planning to finish strong, you cannot, you can, but I would suggest that you don't go out there and eating a whole bunch of sugar, salt, oil, junk. Okay, we need to feed our bodies. Again, you need to think like you are an athlete, which means you need to eat like an athlete. And that means, again, we need to eat like we got some sense, right? If we want to finish this race strong, and I'm sure that we all do, right? We need to take our nutrition seriously and give our bodies what we need to thrive and not just survive through the process. We want to end this. We really, truly, at least I do. I hope you do too, right? We want to end this better than when we started. We want to be stronger. We want to be more fit. We want to be able to run, jog, walk faster, whatever, right? That is what we need to do. We can do this, right? So we have the power to do this, right? And I believe, I truly, honestly believe that Holy Spirit, who's on the inside of us, will fill us with his peace and courage so that he will remove the anxiety and the fear of the process, right? But it's going to take us to be obedient. It's going to take us to be bold. It's going to take us to follow the process, right? So that we can become the champions that we really are, right? So I want to go over just, I went over the fitness schedule real quick, and I emailed it. If you didn't get it, or if you're interested in getting that, just please let me know and I will give it to you. All right. So we are basically like in week 3. I'm basically following um, the couch to 5K. Right. So that is the one where you do a rest or cross train. It starts on a Monday. Right. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday is a rest or cross train. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, you do your walking. But you can mix it up, right? Any way that you feel that works for you, right? Like Monday, we don't have class. So you probably will take that to either do your own cross training or your own walking. It's up to you, right? But again, you have it in front of you. You know your schedule better than I do, right? You know what you can do better than I do, right? But I'm here to coach you through whatever it is you decide that you want to do. All right. So that's basically all we're going to talk about today, right? What the process is all about, what we're planning to do, how we're doing it, all right, and what we need to start with. Again, let's run through it real quick. All right. The first thing we need to do is that you need to assess your level. Where are you starting from? Right. The second thing is we need to set a goal. What are you planning to do? Make a decision. Are you going to walk the whole thing? You're going to jog, you're going to run, or you're going to do a combination, right? We have our training plan, right? And we broke it down about what it is we need to do, what it looks like, right? And then finally, we talked about what we can do on our off days off of training, right? Cycling, swimming, yoga, Pilates, strength training, dance classes, elliptical trainer, right? Eventually, we're going to get to practicing the route so that you can go look at it, you can see it for yourself, right? We're going to emphasize safety, which means we're going to make sure that we have the right equipment for our feet. We're going to make sure that we are sustaining our knees, our backs, and so forth, right? We're going to listen to our body. We're going to hydrate. We're going to eat like we got some sense, right? That's basically how we're starting. We are 2 weeks in. Starting hopefully next week, I will go into some more things. We're going to be talking about empowerment. We're going to be talking about social power and how all of this is going to encourage things in our lives. All right. So that's it for tonight. I think that's enough. I did a lot of talking. I hope that it was influential or encouraging to you. Again, let me know what you think. Let me know if you need help. All right. It's like, okay, I understand this, but I don't understand that. Reach out to me, leave a comment, and I'll get back to you with some answers the best I can. All right. So, with that said, thank you so much for being here tonight. All right. Again, we're going to celebrate because we're going to really do some big and great things. I can't wait to see you guys cross that finish line. All right. So, this is Coach Doreen saying thank you again, your whole food, plant based fitness and nutrition coach, saying good night. All right. And have a great one. See you soon. Bye bye.